Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground. You bustin' your rounds, nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason.
What's that?
It's just that ripple effect. That karma come back quick. Do somebody wrong, you get sick. I just inspire kids, because of that maybe I get rich. Gotta see the future, be smarter than a rooster. No hookah, you focus. No drinking, no smoking, no tokens, no handouts. Everybody in the world, get your plans out. Let's do it, let's go, let's get our minds ready. We elevate intellects right here on the KDOT show. That's just that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple. That's just that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.
Hey, what's going on? It's your girl KDOT back in the Ripple Effect. You already know what it is, and you already know the vibes. Listen, I just been bombarded with some crazy info. Just thought you guys should know. I used to be a paramedic. Probably some of the best people I'll ever meet in my life. It's crazy out here in these streets, guys. So a lieutenant from the FDNY EMS was stabbed to death. So just want to take a couple minutes, for us to just reflect. Life is just so short. It's crazy out here. The work is different. These people, right? If you know, you know. Just wanted to bring attention to that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please Google it. It's all over my feed because of the, nature of work that I used to do. It's crazy. I don't really want to get into too many details. And I'm not saying any names out of respect for the family, but we've heard way too much about this. I had to deal with it personally at my station 26. Shout out to you guys. Still love y'all. Still in my heart. Still think about y'all all the time, especially Yachty. And that continuing case that's still going on, because apparently now he's fit for court. It's like I said, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google it. FDNY Station 26. I'm sure something will pop up. And today's recent news, just understand that, listen, EMS, man, if you don't know too much about it, talk to someone who's been in it. It's crazy. You want to talk about being unappreciated, underpaid, overworked, but we always had each other, and there was definitely solace in that. But at the end of the day, it's crazy. Like what at least what I had to go through and what people are still going through. And I'm definitely here for you guys. Hope you guys know that. And if there's anything I can do, please reach out. You guys already know what it is. For those of you who know me, if you reach out to me, we'll be on the phone for hours. So if you know, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because at the end of the day, life still happens. I know this is a sports podcast, but the world is just crazy out here, and I just felt it was necessary to speak on it, especially given the hours, of my life that I've dedicated, to that, and pretty much my whole adult life. It's pretty much, all I knew until I ventured off into something else. But yeah, prayers up for the family, prayers up to everybody involved. EMS, whether it's fire, PD, anybody in that whole line of work where you have to be on the streets and you're constantly, dealing with those sort of situations where it could be you. You just never know. You just never know. You clock in, you thinking you're there to help, and unfortunately, sometimes the community turns on you, not as a whole, but, but as we've always said, sometimes the few are so louder than the many, but We got to do more. Eric Adams, mayor, New York City. I hope that you're not going to continue what de Blasio has continued, or what he has done throughout his regime, by saying that we're different, kind of isolating us, into a category that at the end of the day is not healthy. It's not helping anyone. It's not helping the community. It's definitely not helping the people that put their livelihood, everything on the line, day in, day out. It's crazy. It's crazy. So to all my brothers and sisters out there, please be safe. Like I said before, you already know the number. And if you don't, reach out to the pod, reach out, DM me, and we'll talk about it. Because it's real out there. It's real. Had to get that off my chest. It's crazy. NFL, the NBA, you already know how we do. No matter what's going on in the world of sports, I'm always going to speak on what's going on in real life and reality, because at the end of the day, it affects us all, whether we want to admit to or not. But just to get into the lineup, you already know Thursday's pick, right? So we have the Bengals and we have the Dolphins. Here's what I'm going to say about this. I know a lot of people are like, oh, the Bengals beat the Jets. Okay. Okay. I mean, that's no knock to all my Jets fans. Y'all already know how I feel about y'all. I've been to a Jets game. They did a lot, especially, for FDNY and everything. And no knock, but are we really trying to go there? Are we really trying to act like the Bengals beat up a legitimate team to try to say that, okay, they're back on the same path that they were last year? I'm not willing to say that. I need to see more. Like how y'all always saying about Tua, right, as the quarterback. Oh, I need to see more. Okay. Excuse me. Well, like I told you, I think the Bengals, when you think about the weapons, from Tyler Boyd to DeMar Chase to Mixon. I mean, those guys, dogs. I love those guys. I listened to them when they were on the pivot. I mean, it gave me a little bit of an inside look into you guys as a person, and it's been awesome. But at the end of the day, it's like that offensive line, though. I mean, Joe Burrow's been sacked how many times? What, 15 times, 13 times? We only in week 3? Come on now. I know we about to start week 4, but come on now. That's not winning. You guys, like I said before, Joe Burrow got beat up a lot of times. Like, he got sacked a lot. I know a lot of people might use that argument. Oh, he got sacked a bunch of times and they made it all the way to Super Bowl. But we're going to sit here and act like that's a recipe. That's what we want to do? Is that your strategy? Yeah, that's crazy to me. I mean, I don't know how many times you think Joe Burrow can really stand under there and keep getting knocked down as much as he did, especially thinking about his first year in the league and how the injury took him out. I know winning cures all, right? And we kind of forget about that. We kind of just put that in the back burner. But at the end of the day, it did set him back. And you know what? They came out with a vengeance. You got to give them credit. The Bengals did their thing last year. They snuck up on a lot of people. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody's circling the calendar for the Bengals. You already know the history of the Bengals. And no disrespect. I love Ultra Cinco and all these, and other guys that definitely, put in their work in the Bengals, but was never really able to amount to, to much when you consider, championships, So it's like, okay, you're not sneaking up on anybody this year. I told y'all the Dolphins was somebody to be reckoned with. Nobody wanted to believe me, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. I won't hold it against you. But that's the reason why I have the Dolphins, because I think that nobody is really giving the Dolphins a legitimate chance. And I'm not just talking about Tyreek Hill. I'm talking about that defense, what they were able to do. If you've been watching the last couple of games, even if you haven't seen their games and you're just kind of just going off of the highlights, look at all the highlights. If you haven't got a chance to watch in their games, or I said, get Red Zone. It's kind of hard to keep track of everything. I get it. That's why I have Red Zone, and if somebody wants me to key into something, particular about the game, like, I'm a whole nut. Everybody will tell you, like, I have all the TVs in my house, onto particular games, and then I'll have Red Zone on a whole nother TV. Like, listen, I gotta get it in. I gotta know what's up. So I'm telling you, the Dolphins are for real. And I told you it's not just because of Tyreek. I'm talking about Waddle. That dude is fast. He may not be Tyreek Hill fast, but I mean, what is he, like half a second slower? I mean, if that is even true, I don't know. This dude is fast. Man, all Tua has to do is just be solid. You know what I mean? Like, just don't turn the ball over. Just be solid. Don't do too much. If it's not there, it's not there. But you already know. It's like Patrick Mahomes should just say, Tyreek Hill probably down there somewhere. Just throw the ball up. As long as the offensive line gives him a little bit more time to throw. I mean, you only need a couple seconds. You already know what he's running. What is it, like a 440? I don't know. Dude is fast. His nickname is the Cheetah. It is going to be a good matchup because I know the Bengals definitely want to prove that it wasn't a fluke. They were for real. I get all that. But at the end of the day, it is going to be a close game. If you want me to throw some numbers at you score-wise, I can see them putting some points on the board. I can see them doing that. If I have to, if you're making me do it, 27-21. Those are the numbers that come to mind. So, yeah, is it going to be close? I'm not trying to say it's going to be a blowout. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to say it's going to be a game where if you look at it quarter by quarter, I think the Dolphins will be finishing those quarters off strong, finishing off the half strong, just because they coming. They're here. Stop acting like the Dolphins are the Dolphins of the past. Yes, they had a lot of things going on. You may say Tua looked this way, that way, but if you know anything about quarterbacks and understanding the fact that the whole culture that was down there in Miami, I mean, that was nowhere for. I mean, we can make that same argument for Trevor, right? Look at the Jaguars right now. You think that was by accident? No, that's what happens when you have a real coach. When you actually have a culture in which a young, talented quarterback can thrive off of. That wasn't an accident. You think that was a fluke? Why the Jaguars are playing the way they're playing? Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say and act like I called it because I didn't. But it does go to show you it's possible. When put in the right situation, that's not a toxic environment, great things will happen. It's all about the culture. That's it. I definitely also want to talk about the Raiders. I don't want to like oversell it because at the end of the day, I had the Raiders at 4. When you look at the Chiefs, the Chargers, Denver, and the Raiders, I already had Raiders at the bottom. I saw the Broncos at least being 3. Because to me, there was a little bit of questions. I like Russell. I believe in him. But I'm not putting him over, the Chargers. The Chargers look... I'm talking about the beginning of the season. I know. The injuries are crazy. I'm sorry, Chargers fans. I'm sorry. The injuries are not looking good. With Herbert, he has the fracture in, the cartilage in his ribs, and which is worse because... You can barely breathe without having some sort of pain. That just, man, I don't, it's great. What, the offensive tackle? Yeah, and wide receiver. Yeah, it sucks. I'm not even going to lie to you. I know everybody was thinking Super Bowl and they had high hopes, but all I can tell you is manage your expectations for now. We never know how this will truly impact them later on because we don't know how they'll heal and we don't know how long Herbert will be out because from what I'm hearing, he's not even trying to be out at all. I don't know how wise that is, but I'm just trying to give you, an idea of what of what we thought just 3 weeks ago and what's happening now. That's why everybody, when we talk about things week to week, especially in football, like, you have to understand things can change like that. Like, I mean, that could be in sports in general, but definitely in football. We know how every game is so meaningful. We understand that it's true. Everything can change week to week. Everybody was high on the Chargers. Now all of a sudden we're like, whoa, pump the brakes. I don't know. Whoever was betting on them is pulling out now, and they're like, that's why everything is week to week. We don't know how things are going to pan out. We don't know. I mean, look at the Bucks down there in Tampa Bay, with everything going on, and, Evans, with the suspension, and, Godwin is still not there, and the center. I mean, that's why we talk about things week to week, because that's what we have to work with. And then we build on that as we go along, right? But, to hop back to the Raiders, it's, 0-3 start. I know that's not the way Devontae Adams and Carr thought they were going to start, but that's just the reality it is. Josh McDaniels, same thing, second time, as a head coach, right? This is your second opportunity, and this is kind of what's happening. It's like, what's going on? Remember, they were a playoff team last year. They're supposed to be doing better this year, considering, all the turmoil and things that were going on, with the DWs and the domestic violence. Like, they had a lot going on. And then with the interim coach having to take over because the head coach is a douche. Like, it was just a lot, like, to say the least. And I thought Derek Carr did an excellent job, in terms of leadership and still, following, the interim coach's head lead. And I think, I hate to speak on, like, karma, but karma does come for us all, doesn't it? I mean, I almost feel like, because I kind of felt some type of way, honestly. I'm not even a Raiders fan, but I really did feel some type of way when they decided to let go of that interim head coach. And forgive me because I can't remember his name, but how do you let that guy go, dealing with everything that they dealt with such class, right? Winning games, made the playoffs. I mean, who would expect? And now you wanted him out of there. Why? Because it's a hot name of McDaniels, under Belichick, and you already see how Belichick's doing right now, taking it day by day. I mean, it does feel sort of karma-ish, because it's like, yo, maybe you should have kept him. Maybe you shouldn't have just went with Josh Daniels. Maybe you should have just let Josh Daniels take the job somewhere else. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that they can't turn it around. But turn it around in terms of what? Making the playoffs? I don't think any team has ever done that, being down 0-3, right? To start the season, right? So I don't know, unless they plan on making history. I mean, I don't know. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. I know Devontae Adams, he's such a, class act, professional, soldier, kind of just like, everybody's comparing stats. I'm like, we're not even talking, me, I'm not really a big stats person. Like, of course I'll look at it, and those are the facts, and then I'll base it off, what's going on. But at the end of the day, stats are going to tell you what? Obviously that, Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Derek Carr? If you don't know that by now without having to look at stats, and I don't know what to tell you, you don't need stats to tell you that. If you're looking at those stats, that's exactly what that should tell you. That Aaron Rodgers is indeed a better quarterback than Derek Carr. Okay. That's pretty much a done deal. Moving right along. Giants lost. Okay. Yeah, it sucks. We were definitely high on the Giants for a bit. Shout out to all the Giants fans for getting all hype, right? Saquon Barkley, doing his thing. Looking like he's on a tear this season. But it's just unfortunate. It's our offensive line. Danny Dimes is not our QB. I'm sorry to tell you, like, some people will argue maybe he's not our QB because we can't protect our QB long enough for us to be able to see what he is. But he's been in the league 4 years now. I think at some point you got to make a decision on who that guy is. We can't keep going off of. I hate it when I'm watching TV and they're like, "Oh, we see glimpses." Are we seeing glimpses of Lamar Jackson? No. Are we seeing glimpses of Josh Allen? No. Are we seeing glimpses of Aaron Rodgers? You know, if you want to go, you know, the older. No, they're showing you who they are, and they're consistent. Sure, am I trying to say they're not gonna have a bad game? No, of course they're gonna have a bad game, but Danny Dimes has bad seasons. We need to move on. I think Dable, I think everybody's seen it. Fans, you know, everybody has seen enough. And I think that's where we're at. Enough is enough. Yeah, we got embarrassed on Monday Night Football. Maybe you don't see it that way, but I do. Dak wasn't playing. Cooper Rush was playing. You know, you got Michael Irvin over here saying, in Rush, we trust, right? In Rush, we trust. I mean, you got to love the playmaker, right? But at the same time, like as a Giants fan, you're not trying to hear that. And we're the reason why, part of the reason why he's saying that. Which makes it a little bit more irritating, you know? But what are you going to do, right? It is what it is. We see where the problem is. Yes, the offensive line is still not holding up at the end of the day. But it takes time. We keep switching guys out. We keep making our adjustments, our improvements. And the whole thing with the offensive line, anybody will tell you, is you need that cohesion. You need the chemistry. And that takes time. That's not something that's going to happen overnight. But to me, the glaring, you know, issue is the main person or the most important person on the team, and that's the quarterback position, and that's Daniel Jones. Sorry, nothing against the guy, nothing against Duke quarterbacks, but I still don't understand why we drafted him anyway. I totally get that was a different regime and we're moving on. Then we need to move on. I hope the Ravens continue not to play Lamar Jackson. That's right, I said it. You know why? Because I would love for him to come to the Giants. I understand that that's not the prototypical, you know, quarterback that the Giants are used to, but I think he definitely does fit the mold of our team when you consider blue-collar, hard-working, not given. Nothing was ever given to Lamar Jackson. I think we can clearly see that in what happened with his contract situation, right? I think we need to pay that man and watch. Just watch us flourish. Can you imagine Saquon, Lamar? Don't get me wrong, we still need a number one, you know, at the wide receiver position, but Lamar ain't got a number one over there either. We have a overpaid, you know, wide receiver. You know, maybe if Lamar does come, maybe Odell can come. You know, I'm dreaming. Who doesn't want to dream? Who doesn't want to dream? But at the end of the day, that's how I feel about it. You can agree, disagree. I'm sure if you're a Giants fan, I'm sure you're all on board. You know, but we can get back to reality. More than likely, the way Lamar Jackson is playing, we can definitely see that he's probably going to be getting paid by the Ravens, probably before the season's even over, because they're probably going to say to yourself, like, wow, this guy's having an MVP season. He's playing better, you know, this season than he did when he won the MVP during that season. So it's going to be like, all right, you know, they kind of have no choice, because otherwise it just looks like you just have something against the guy. But anywho, there's a lot of other teams out there, like we've already mentioned about the Patriots and how we thought they were going, and some people think that he may be on the hot seat, and that's definitely funny and ridiculous at the same time. I understand that nobody's untouchable in the NFL, but I think Belichick is. You know, because when you think about greats, when you think about, you know, legacy, I mean, that's like Greg Popovich. Like, Spurs, you know, they were known for having, like, crazy, you know, winning records, and half the time you don't even really understand how or why. You know, it's Greg Popovich. Doesn't matter who's on his team, right? I mean, yeah, they kind of rough for, like, the last season or two, but at the end of the day, it's Greg Popovich. Like, are you serious? What are we even talking about? You know, it's Bill Belichick. What are we even talking about? Yeah, you're going to go through growing pains, right? You know, I think it's so funny how people are just ready to put certain people on the hot seat just because I get it. I guess most people are Tom Brady fans, right? I guess people just saw that Tom Brady went over to the Buccaneers and he won a championship. Yeah, but he didn't just go to any old team. Like, that's what people don't put things into perspective. You acting like he didn't go over there, you know, with his buddy Gronk, Michael Evans. Like, come
I'm
on.
having trouble connecting to the internet.
That's
For more
just...
info, check the Home app.
Does that ever happen to you? Like, Siri's just, like, on one right now. Anywho, I mean, Leonard Fournette. I mean, he didn't go over there with just anybody. That defense, come on. You guys know football. You guys know what's up. He didn't just go to any team. Like, he didn't go to, you know what I mean? Like, come on. He went to a team that was definitely in need of his position. And he knew once he came over there with his leadership, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to take anything away from let's not get into that. You're a Brady hater. No, because I was just defending him like a week ago. I don't want to get into that. I'm just trying to tell you that he didn't just go to any team. That's a fact. Now, could anybody have done what he did? No, I'm not trying to say that either. No. Brady's leadership, his unmatched, focused, I mean, his focus is crazy. That Mamba mentality type thing, but it's like a TB12 thing, but, still in that elite category of focus and preparation, right? And talent and hard work. It's unmatched. But I'm just trying to say, like, Belichick, let's just say he had a lot more work than Tom Brady did. He did. He had a lot more work. So let's not do that. Let's not go back and forth. It was cute. It was fun for a while. But after a while, it's kind of like, all right, now I just feel like everybody's just crapping all over the guy because, it's rough. It's not easy to go through a transition of 20 years. I mean, Tom Brady was running things for like 20 years. What do you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty huge. That's no small order. Like, it's gonna be rough for them because you got to think about their division that was considered like, almost laughable because it's like, Josh Allen, not to mention that defense, and they added Von Miller over there with the Bills, and we already spoke about the Dolphins, so it's like, and we could talk about the Bills, yeah, their offensive coordinator, moving some furniture around, I like it. I know a lot of people were kind of like taken aback by that, like why would you do that? Like acting like Tom Brady, like acting like one of the players. And I'm sorry, I'm with some of these players. Like, I like it. You care, you really care, because you're gonna get a lot more trouble, I'm sure, than a player would for doing that. So that's one of the main things, because sometimes you think that, oh, they just made a call and they're kind of like, oh, well, just didn't go our way. And they kind of just pack it up and just go about their day. But the fact that they showed that much emotion, just letting you know, like they really wanted this. It looked like they wanted it almost more than the players, right? I'm not going to say that, but, but they wanted it. And it showed how much they wanted it. And you really felt for Josh Allen. It's like, man, this is part of it. You can't just go into every season expecting to think things are going to be given to you just because of how close you came the last time. You got to come out there and earn it. You guys earned it. Like last time when you guys earned it, because the rules even got changed for you guys, right? Because they saw how depressing that was for you guys to end things like that with the Chiefs, because you guys could have been easily the ones going on while the Chiefs were going home, right? When you think about the way the overtime rules are set up in terms of coin toss and whoever gets it, that's it. But nah, I'm not sweating it. The Bills are awesome. I had them coming out winning the Super Bowl for this season, but let's see, because I know some people had the Chargers, and like I said, we spoke about that, and that's unfortunate with the injury sort of thing. But but the Bills, what they have going on is great. I even had Josh Allen for MVP. I told you guys that, but I was like, I changed it. Sorry, please forgive me. I had to change it because I didn't, because when I made that pick, I didn't know that the Ravens were really not going to give Lamar Jackson what they asked for. Like, I didn't know that that deal, I didn't know he would be out here playing without a deal. Like I couldn't have seen that. And now that I know that he is, like the minute I knew that when they didn't have a deal, I was like, nah, he's gonna be MVP now, because now he's got something to prove, because apparently he's got to prove himself every year. You know what I mean? Like Lamar Jackson doesn't get that nod, like you're that guy. You know, there's always somebody picking at his game for some reason, just because he's versatile. He can do anything. You ask him to do it, he can do it. I've seen him make like very tight passes with like, I mean, maybe like a half a second, you know, of a window time, you know, before it closes. And people still don't give him, I'm like, what are you even watching at this point? Like, give the man his props. Craziness. But what are you going to do? Like, some people you just can't. So it's just like, you know, why even bother, right? But we're going to switch it up a bit. We got to talk about a little bit of the NBA. And don't worry, we ain't talking about no more drama. Like, watch my last episode if you want to hear drama. I'm all out. I'm sorry. I'm all out. And I have nothing else to say. I do want to talk about how the Pelicans look and how people are probably sleeping on them. Zion looks in shape. He looks healthy. I told you that was like my only concern when it came to Zion, because when you sit there and understand what an 82 game long season is like on your body, and we're not even talking about the playoffs, if you expect to go on and hopes to chase your dream of winning the championship, you gotta be in shape. You gotta, like, and that all starts in the off season. Some people think they can just play their way into shape, and it's like, I think after a certain age, you probably realize that that's just not the case, and you actually have to come into the season strong, ready to go. Maybe not in, season, not in mid-season form, because that's, that's like a LeBron. Like, that's a lot of freak athletes can honestly do that. And I'm assuming that's why Giannis and Luka and them are playing too, because they're probably going to start off the season looking really, really good, because they've been playing basketball all summer. But to go back to the Pelicans, like, they really, really good. And shout out to Zion. I know that must have been tough. I don't know how much he was switching up, whether it was nutrition or what he did. He looked great, and I'm happy for them. Brandon Ingram, always been a stud. Always, has some growing to do like anybody else, but I always loved his game, love his shot creation is crazy. CJ McCollum, great leader, president of the Players Association. He's amazing. I mean, what can't he do, right? Dude definitely doesn't get enough credit, definitely underrated. I love the way he kind of came in last year and just kind of, I love how he like took over without like taking over, in terms of like not stepping on any toes, just kind of just saying, hey guys, I'm here to help. Whatever you guys need, I'm there. He's definitely one of those guys that's just one of them ones, and that's what's up. Like, looking at the Knicks, I do feel hopeful. I do. I know the whole Donovan Mitchell thing, and you know what? He's in a better place. I feel like we're talking about him like he's not with us anymore. And I don't mean to talk about him like that, like posthumously, not at all. I just mean like he's with the Cavs, with Garland. He's with Kevin Love. Jared Allen, dude with the hair. They got a squad. I'm not even going to front. They have a squad. Little jelly, little, but I am happy for Donovan Mitchell, because at the end of the day, I felt like he put a lot into the Jazz's organization for them to kind of do him like that. I'm like, you're not even gonna let him go home. Like, he's from there. Like, how you not gonna let him go to New York? But like I said, at the same time, I'm so glad the Knicks did not cave, because asking for somebody's, unborn child, it's. Obviously, I'm kidding, but it's like what they were asking for was just ridiculous. And at some point, you got to shut it down. You got to just say, you know what? We really want this player, but you're being ridiculous, and we don't want him that bad. So deal was off the table. He went to the Cavs. So like I said, I'm happy for him. I'm happy that, he's going to get a chance to be competitive. He's going to play with some really young, talented players like himself, and they're going to elevate. The Cavs, definitely watch out. That's going to be one of my sleeper teams. Watch out. The Cavs are definitely coming. Like I said, the Knicks, it's really dependent on Randall. I hate to just pin it on one guy. Yes, we have Brunson. RJ Barrett is definitely going to take it up another notch. Let's pay attention to RJ Barrett. Obi Toppin, as you know, we have some players. Sims, like a lot of these nice young guys. I like the way they play. Very team oriented. Tibbs got something for him. I already know. We got to see. But the East is no joke, because you have to also think about the 76ers and what they're bringing. And some people may laugh, but I'm like, James Harden is in shape, guys. I mean, if you think that he's going to be the same player he was last year, you're bugging. If you don't understand how hamstring injuries can hinder you for a year, for a whole season, like, he was obviously still dealing with that. So I'm not surprised. And the fact that he's going to be energized and rested and being in shape. I know he said he lost like 100 pounds. Like, obviously, he had to have been being facetious. There's no way he was being, like 100% about that. But, Joel Embiid, and shout out to Joel Embiid. I heard he just became a U.S. citizen. Congrats, brother. But yeah, and the Celtics, and I know. But I just mean the team, talent-wise, they still have their core. They just got Brogdon. Guys, you don't understand. That is what they were missing. I know Marcus Smart was like, listen, they had a bunch of other all-star point guards here, and it didn't pan out. But Kemba Walker, it didn't work out. I get it. And he's talking about Kyrie Irving. It didn't work out. Okay. Brogdon knows his role. Played with the Milwaukee Bucks. Don't forget about them, because that's another team we also have to worry about in the East. And you still got Marcus. So Marcus Smart is more free to do it, because I'm sure that they can, switch off from the 1 to 2 position. Because Marcus Smart is versatile, but he's not asked to do it. I felt like Marcus Smart was still asked to do something that he wasn't really 100% comfortable doing. And I'm not saying like him as a person, like I didn't speak to him. I'm just saying from the way his game looked, it didn't look comfortable. Like some of the turnovers and the things that he was doing with the ball, I was like, that's not his role. That's not where I would have put him. I think he's solid at the 2 position. Solid. Lockdown defender, on-ball defender, help defender. Dude can ball all around. But I like the fact that they got Brogdon, and I think that is key. Now, Joe Mazzulla, I believe that's who the coach is right now. I can't really speak too much about him. I know that Brad Stevens, everybody seems to be, I can't say high on him because I didn't get that vibe, but there was a comfortable sort of familiarity with him. And I think, and obviously it's because he's been around the team, he's been on the coaching staff, he's been an assistant coach. So they know who he is. But I mean, like in that position, could we honestly say like we're comfortable where things are moving? Are they going to get back to the finals? I don't know. All that will be, that remains to be seen. Like, I don't know what they're looking at first 20 games to see what the record is like. But it's definitely something to pay attention to, because that could definitely go either way. Because the way, Jaylen Brown, the way, like I've talked about that a little bit, the way he's been training, and you look at Jason Tatum, they're only going to get better. And Jason Tatum was dealing with that injury, right? We talked about the wrist. They're only going to get better. They're only going to get better. They're definitely going through a rough time right now. So now I think Kevin Garnett said it the best when he was talking to Paul Pierce about 2 days ago. I watch a lot of stuff, a lot of inside stuff. But he was saying, like, this is either going to make them or break them. This This is actually one of these situations where this is the most adversity they've ever faced. It's way worse than last season when we were talking about whether Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can coexist. It's way bigger than that now. So they're either gonna split apart, and I'm not talking about just them two in general. I just mean like the team in general. They're either gonna, fold, or they're gonna come out and let you guys know, like, listen, we were in the finals last year. There was no fluke. At the end of the day, it's us that has to come down here and execute the game plan. You know what I mean? Nobody can do it for us, and they're either going to show you that they can do it, or just going to be a headline for a while, because people are already going to know why. And that's just unfortunate. So I really hope that doesn't happen, because these guys are too young, too talented. You guys are in your prime. Don't waste your prime for nobody. At the end of the day, decisions were made beyond your control. So control what you can control and move on. And that's just the way I like to live my life. But you know what I mean? I think that's just the best advice for them moving forward. Just keep looking forward and just control what you can control. But there's a couple other teams that also stick out that we also need to be mindful of. On the West, the Timberwolves, we always said, what was the one thing that they lacked? Well, we're not going to say one. Let's say two. Two main things that I would say personally that they lacked. Leadership and defense. Two. Because you got rid of Patrick Beverley. So when we found that out, and he's over there with the Lakers, right? The first thing I said to myself was like, wow. Remember, these were guys that I was celebrating about getting into the playoffs, right? So I was like, I get it. Patrick Beverley was celebrating with him. I guess he was trying to, because you don't know, Patrick Beverley was definitely hard on these dudes. So I guess he felt the need to, let them relax a little bit, since they achieved the goal that, ultimately seemed to be out of reach for a minute. But at the same time, he held guys accountable, and that was like the biggest thing, is holding guys accountable. Cat, sometimes you don't really know what you're going to get out of him, because when he plays aggressive, when he plays like that guy that he claims to be, and rightfully so, mind you, that the best shooting big man, I agree, bro. We just want to see it out of you on a more consistent basis. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. We saw it. 3-point contest. We see you. I see you. You got game. But we just need to see it consistently. We need to see it in the big moments. Anthony Edwards, we already know what he got. We already saw what happened, right? We saw what happened when it's like he was put on a show, and then looked like he got hurt or whatever, and he left the game, and then the crowd was just like out of it. Everybody was out of it. Even the team out of it. Everybody was just like, oh man, everybody heads down, not know what to do. And then it's like Anthony Edwards just came back in the game. The whole crowd was hype, and he was in it, and it was just like, oh wow, this is Anthony Edwards' team. Like, this is your team, because y'all shouldn't have been acting like that if this was Cat's team, right? So I don't know, but hopefully they all to get together. They've grown from last season. That's what you can definitely hope for, right? I mean, as long as they've grown from last season, they're going to be scary, guys. Adding Rudy Gobert. Listen. D'Angelo Russell. I've always had like don't get me wrong. Talented. I don't think there was ever a question of his talent. It was just more so like maturity. I felt like that's what it really was for me. But if he can get these guys on track, Rudy Gobert as well, man, they're not going to be an easy out. I tell you that. They may sneak up on people like the way, forgive me, the Mavericks did, right? Like, the Mavericks snuck up on people. It's crazy to think that, because you're like, Luka Doncic, why did they sneak up on people? Listen, Jason Kidd, him as a coach, if he did that last season, think about what he's going to be doing this season. Another sleeper team. I'm not gonna say sleeper because they got pretty far, and some people are gonna be like, "Nah, we should." You're right. I'm not gonna. That's too easy. I'm not gonna say sleeper team, but it's a team to watch. It's a team to pay attention to, for sure. Like you bugging. Also, Denver. Keep in mind, guys are not gonna be injured. Keep that in mind. Michael Porter Jr., right? Yeah, I forgot. I know. Joker, MVP, back to back. Some of y'all was going back and forth with the Joel Embiid and the stats and eye test and how many games played, and yeah, we're definitely going to be debating about that again. Like we'll definitely have a conversation about that. That was a really good debate. Like I actually enjoyed that one because it's one of those debates where it's like you really don't care about what your side of it on because at the end of the day, like, I mean, what side of it that you're on, like whatever stance that you're taking, you really don't care because it's like those are two really good players. I already told you my argument for the Joker. I mean, he had nobody. Come on, the main guy, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter Jr. When you don't have those guys, you have to understand what that means. Like even mentally. You have to understand being consistent, playing as many games as he played, taking the abuse that he takes. If you even watch half of Denver's games, please get NBA League Pass. Because I feel like half the time you're arguing with people that don't even have NBA League Pass and probably only seen like maybe 5 of their games that were televised. And it's like, what are we even talking about at this point? Like I'm talking about games that you never even seen. Maybe if it got caught on a highlight, and that just depends on what you choose to follow. But come on, what are we even talking about right now? Joel Embiid is a phenomenal player. Definitely up there. I'll definitely have an episode where I'll just rattle off like my top 10. I need to sit there and think about it because, no stats. I'm just going to sit here and think. I'm going to go back to my memory box and sit here and think who's the best player. And you already heard Giannis Antetokounmpo already said, well, the best player is the last team standing. And the best player on that team of the last team standing, which would be Steph Curry, right? All logical, but some people, they have other rationale, but at the end of the day, I mean, what do you play for? What's the competition? Like you play to win, right? So whoever won, totally get the logic, but everybody has a different criteria of what the best player is. Like that's what I'm noticing. It's a different criteria. So I feel like I'm going to break down my criteria. I wish there was like a universal one that we can all follow because then we might be on the same page somewhat. But I guess that's just the controversy of sports, right? It's kind of subjective in a way where you're kind of just like, it depends on the way you look at it, depends on your perspective, but it's all good. If I left your team out, I apologize. I also like, I'm not going to say that they're really going to do a lot, but I want to say Orlando looks like a fun team. They look like actually the Timberwolves. Not now. And definitely not last year. But they kind of show me glimpses of like, okay, we can be serious, but we're still too young. That sort of thing. I like them though. I do. Van Carroll, like, I mean, guys just have a lot to learn. Some people were talking about Toronto. I know I'm not really going crazy with it. I don't want to go too crazy talking about the Lakers because I feel like it's the same thing with the NFL and with Dallas. It's like those teams just get talked about so much. And it's funny because the fans usually hate it, but I'm just like, but that's what makes you like popular, right? Like that's actually a good thing. If nobody's talking about you, that's actually not good at all. You want people talking. It's a little annoying. I get it. If that's your team and people are always kind of just like, on it. But nevertheless, Russ is still in the Lakers. Patrick Beverley, as you know, Darvin Ham is the coach. Love that coach. I mean, I'm not even saying because there's like a body of work really you can look at. I just felt like, he's under the Popovich tree. You already know how that goes. I've heard him in interviews. I like the way he speaks. I like the way where he's from and where he is now. You know what I mean? I like that. I like that struggle, that adversity, and becoming the person that he is right now. It's very honorable. It's inspiring. I feel like he is a great leader that can galvanize these guys and kind of hold them accountable and say, hey, that not getting back down on defense, chucking the ball up, not at least passing the ball a couple times, not looking for the open man. Yeah, none of that's gonna fly. And if you gotta come off the bench, Russ, you gotta come off the bench. And I kind of like Russ's attitude about the whole thing right now. I think he's kind of just like, I don't know if he's just kind of over it. Because everybody's just been talking so much about him. Meanwhile, he's probably been like the only one there out on the floor just taking all the blame while everybody's either out injured or doing whatever. He's just been kind of, he's been taking it. Like, you got to, if you don't like the guy, you got to admit that he's been taking it. And whether you think it's rightfully so or not, at the end of the day, he's taking it. And all we can do is see how he responds on the court. That's all I really care about. Is how he responds on the court, whether he comes off the bench or whether he's starting. A lot of people expect him and Pat Beverly to be enemies. I don't really know why. I mean, a lot of the NBA is a brotherhood, and a lot of that, beef is not really spilled on the outside. It's kind of just kept, with whatever is in between the four lines. For the most part, can't really speak for everything, but for the most part, they seem to be real cool. They seem to be handling it like professionals, like how you would expect them to, right? This is your teammate now. Like, we're not adversaries. We can definitely, build something special here. LeBron, come on. Like, I know he signed the extension, but at the end of the day, it's like LeBron is still at a high level. Let's not waste any more time. Like, you don't want to waste valuable years of LeBron James. Like, that's crazy. I mean, the guy still looks like, he's only been playing for a couple years, physically. Like, he doesn't look like he's missed a beat, and that's just remarkable. And that just speaks to his focus, right, and his preparation, and his determination, his talent, and so on, and genetics, of course, and so forth. So that's what's up. And can you really say you yeah, I mean, when you have the Lakers and Anthony Davis, and he does look better, he looks in shape as well. Hopefully there was certain guidelines that he followed in terms of nutrition and how to handle his body properly to kind of more preventative care for him to not get so injured, but some of those injuries that he had, especially it was like a fluke injury. And it's like, how do you really minimize that? You got to play. You can't play safe. I mean, otherwise not really playing, but yeah, it's the Lakers. You expect them, right? It's finals, championship, or bust. Anytime that you have LeBron James, that's why they got Anthony Davis. They didn't get him for that one championship, right? They got him for multiple. I'm sure LeBron James has in the back of his head, I'm trying to at least, tie, Michael Jordan or surpass him. I'm sure that's his goal at this point in the game, because at this point he's a billionaire, building relationships, playing with house money, just teamed up with Draymond and Kevin Love on, what is it, pickleball, venture. Now he owns a pickleball team now. Somebody DM me. Let me know what pickleball is. I mean, I can Google it later, but, if you know what pickleball is and if it's like this up-and-coming thing, let me know, because I may want to start investing in it and maybe talking about it, I don't know. We'll see. The Nets, another team, right? High hopes. Anytime you have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, you have high hopes. I really like, Claxton's game. Young player. I felt like he was very poised throughout the whole foolishness. You do have Andre Drummond, rebounding machine. You definitely want to make sure that he's locked in, he's healthy, and Seth Curry. Whew, boy, that boy can shoot. Wonder where he gets it from, right? Anyway, Ben Simmons. I don't want to get too crazy about this, because at the end of the day, I know everybody's worried about the whole shooting thing, but it's only one ball. I mean, you don't need everybody really shooting. Everybody's goal isn't to shoot, so we're not going to go that far. But what I will say is this. You don't want to make it too easy on the defense either. I mean, if you're only expecting either, Kyrie or Kevin Durant to have the ball and anytime, or to shoot the ball rather, and anytime you have Ben Simmons on the court, that to not even defend him, unless he gets about where he can make a layup. And I know people are probably going to say, but he may not even do that. I get it. I saw, part of the podcast at JJ Redick. Shout out to him. I love your podcast, bro. And he did have Ben Simmons on there, and he did speak about what that was all about. And, it was like a split-second decision that he decided that he felt like there was a guy that was more open, even though he didn't see the defense closing in and it wasn't available anyway. And it forced, it forced him into a tough shot. But it's all the past. Because now, once the NBA season starts, nobody really cares. We want to see what you're doing now. It's, what have you done for me lately type of thing. Because even if you had a great season, at the end of the day, it's like, that's in the past. What are you going to do to move forward? What are you going to do to make people forget? That's really what I want to know. That's the answer to that's really my question. And what his answer will be remains to be seen. If he's the type of guy, honestly, that can rebound and defend and distribute the ball and have that high basketball IQ that we already know he has, the Nets are going to be dangerous. Let's face it. Maybe some people just never liked that whole teaming up and they wanted to see them fail. I'm definitely not that person. I can definitely see them being dangerous. You just need your guys available, healthy, and not asking any one of them to do too much. If you can do that, and you also have Brown on there, they have a team. They have a team. But all I can tell you is it's just, if they're available and healthy, they're dangerous, right? Some people can say, okay, but what about happened last year in the playoffs? And that's where Steve Nash is going to have to step up. Yeah, of course the players are going to have to execute. It's not just, I'm not saying it's just Steve Nash, but Steve Nash is part of the problem. His decision-making, I don't feel like was of someone who has much experience. And hopefully he learned from that. Hopefully. I know there was a lot he was dealing with, and we'll give him that. But I personally am not sure why they chose him, but they did. And he's here, but this is his season to prove it. Like, I don't even know how many games he has to win in order for them to see that. I don't know how far they need to go. I don't know if they need to win a championship for them to be like, okay, you're cool, Steve. Like, I don't know. Kevin Durant was calling for his job. Let's not forget any of that. Like, I understand it's a new season. We're definitely pushing past it, but you can't necessarily forget that because that's going to matter as things move along, right? So it's going to be interesting, and I'm still trying to put everything together because, once the NFL and the NBA come together, it gets pretty crazy, right? But looking forward and seeing, there's a few guys that haven't even arrived on teams yet. I'm still seeing with Jordan Clarkson. I haven't heard about him moving one way or the other just yet because there's teams that's going to need him. And not to mention what teams are going to, I don't know. Because I'm thinking if he goes to the Lakers, if he goes to the Nets, I'm sure he's going to want to go to contender. But at the same time, I'm sure at this stage of his career, money matters. Money definitely does talk. So whoever has the capital space, whoever can afford him, that's going to be interesting. There's also a few other teams that's kind of just been like on my mind. Give me a sec. But yeah, like the Bulls. It's so unfortunate what's going on with Lonzo Ball, and I remember speaking on him earlier and kind of just saying, what I mean earlier, I mean like a few years, maybe 2 years ago, and kind of saying like, teams need to really manage their expectations when it comes to him. And I'm not speaking on his talent. I'm not speaking on his basketball IQ. I'm not even talking about his nutrition. I'm not talking about any, like, the dude it's just unfortunate. Talent, IQ off the charts, and its IQ is already great and special, but playing with LeBron definitely took it up to another level. It's disappointing because now that you hear about that he's going to need another surgery, a micro fracture surgery, don't quote me on that. He's had so many surgeries on his knee. It's unbelievable. And they're trying to say that he's out for the season. And I know there's been reports out there saying that he can possibly come back, but him coming back, I don't know. You definitely don't want to rush that. You definitely don't want to rush it. I remember having some conversations with people about Lonzo Ball, and I know everybody was like jumping down my throat because they were like, nah, don't do that to Lonzo. We like Lonzo, and I like him too. Trust me, the whole Ball family. I really do. I feel for them. But if we're just looking at it from a practical standpoint, they put him in a position where, Zach LaVine, he gets hurt as well. And DeMar DeRozan, I get it. That team, it on paper, looks dangerous. But at the end of the day, AC, like Alex Caruso, I love that dude's game. Lakers are crazy for getting rid of him, by the way. But the point is, he can't stay healthy. And I don't know why. I don't know if there was a problem with one of his surgeries that they never wanted to admit. And that's the reason why they, you know what I mean? Like what is going on? I need more information. Everything is pretty much like closed. Like nobody really wants to really talk about it. You know what I mean? It's kind of just like one word answer. Like, oh, he needs surgery. Out for the season. No, maybe not out for the season. Like, what's going on? If you have more information, please let me know. Because I'm definitely dialed in. I'm trying to reach out, research anything that I can. Excuse me. So, Bulls fans, I'm sorry. I really feel for y'all. I feel for Lonzo Ball being in that situation, knowing your potential. Unbelievable, right? But shout outs to his brother, right? LiAngelo Ball, finally getting his opportunity to be in the NBA. LeVar, right? LeVar Ball, y'all hated on him, y'all, right? You said he was too involved with his sons, and maybe you might be right, but you know what? We can use some of that. Overly involved father, like, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sorry. I don't see, nope. You wanted the best for your sons. That's all I gotta say. And you know what? He said all his sons would be in the NBA. And guess what? All his sons are in the NBA now. How many people can honestly say that? I mean, he's been saying that to these boys since they were a couple of years old. And it's not like he brainwashed them into some people consider they did. No, he didn't. These young men, love the game of basketball. Love it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. LiAngelo Ball wouldn't be doing all of this work in order to just be given an opportunity. Like, I know some people would say, well, it's non-guaranteed. I know all my pessimists out there, right? Oh, it's non-guaranteed, and we don't know how long he's going to be there. Point is, he's there. All he needed was an opportunity. I'm sure he's going to show out. He's with his younger brother, LaMelo, that he's been playing with since he was a little kid. Are you kidding me? Since they were like infants. Come on. Their chemistry is probably ridiculous. They probably don't even need to talk to each other. They already know their spots. They already know where they're going to be out there on the court. They know each other's game inside and out better than anybody else on the team. That's going to be beautiful basketball to watch. Like I said, if I didn't say get that NBA League Pass, y'all would get this NBA League Pass. It's going to be lit. I'm telling you right now. It's going to be crazy. I can't wait to watch them and see how they play out and see how LiAngelo is getting, just acclimated to the team and fitting in with everybody. It's gonna be good. Also, Trae Young. Let's not forget about the Atlanta Hawks. they've been plagued with injuries last year, so they're going to be given one more shot with the coach and everything. Okay, cool. So, but you know, after a while, let's see what they can do. Like, the East is not like the normal East that we're used to. East is tough. I don't know, some people probably like, what? If you look down, because even when I told you, even the Bulls with their problems, the Bulls are still going to give you problems. Like, don't act like they're not going to give you any problems. Like, don't do that. They are going to give you problems. It's going to be crazy. And I can't wait to watch. Just going down my list. In my head, of course. There's nothing around me that's going to give me any hints or nothing over there. But, you know, a circle light ring. Yeah, but the season's going to be great. If you see any other teams that are kind of standing out, or some teams that, like the Kings, that you're trying to figure out, like, what direction are they moving in? How are they going to be? I'm thinking about the Rockets and Jalen. I really like Jalen's game. I like his work ethic. I hear his work ethic is bar none. Just earlier today, they said that when he doesn't work out, he gets sick. And I'm like, okay, they're really laying it on thick. We get it. You like to work out, all right? A lot of professional athletes also enjoy to work out. But yeah, I'm just looking at it and seeing how things go. Because at the end of the day, all we can do is watch, sit here, anticipate the season. This is going to be that time of year, you know, where we're coming into not only pumpkin spice and the NFL is going to be, you know, ramping up, but the NBA is going to be, you already know. So, man, I'm excited. I can't wait. I do love this time of year because there's always something to watch. I'm going to be super busy, and it's just the best time. Always remember one thing: losses equals life lessons. Peace.
Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground. You bustin' your rounds, nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason.
What's that?
It's just that ripple effect. That karma come back quick. Do somebody wrong, you get sick. I just inspire kids, because of that maybe I get rich. Gotta see the future, be smarter than a rooster. No hookah, you focus. No drinking, no smoking, no tokens, no handouts. Everybody in the world, get your plans out. Let's do it, let's go, let's get our minds ready. We elevate intellects right here on the KDOT show. That's just that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple. That's just that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.